Work from home revolution. People of the world, welcome to Send It Rising. I'm the president of the Work from Home Revolution. Today we're talking about a very fascinating turn of events for Google. You see, they're being sued. The dollar amount isn't massive. It's only $40,000, but the implications are absolutely gigantic, because I have, as the owner of an internet marketing company, been asked many, many times by my clients, hey, Kellen, can you get this link from search results removed? And my answer to them is no. No, I cannot. I would love to, but it's not going to happen. And so today we're talking about a lawsuit that is looking, well, I think it may have actually fined Google $40,000. Let's dive in. This from theguardian.com. Google warns of devastating impact if court ruling on defamatory hyperlinks is not overturned. Tech company says it will be forced to censor search results if $40,000 in damages for a Melbourne solicitor is allowed to stand. So what happened? There's this dude named George Defteros. That's a Spanish accent because I speak Spanish. Let's go with Defteros. A solicitor who represented Melbourne's gangland figures is allowed to stand. Okay. So he successfully sued Google. It's done. $40,000. Arguing its publication of search results that included a 2004 article in The Age about his arrest on conspiracy to murder charges. Those were dropped. Did those articles defame him? Oh, you bet they did. Again, I have talked to client after client that goes, someone is writing terrible, horrible, unbelievably inaccurate and false things about me on the internet. Google is picking them up. Can you get Google to bring them down? The answer is always absolutely not. What you end up with is a lawsuit that goes somewhere or goes nowhere. That's basically what happens. Is you need to hire a lawyer to even get the ball rolling. Google has not been afraid of these sorts of things historically in the past, but if it's going to cost them $40,000 to have false information up, well, paradigm shift. Hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is finally Google getting to a point where they are subject to the same scrutiny as, say, Facebook. Facebook is constantly being blasted for putting up hate speech. Google always gets a pass because in our minds as consumers, for whatever reason, I don't fully understand it, we think that Google is just the facts, man, whereas Facebook is opinion and garbage. But Google is not the facts. Back to the article, in 2020, the Victorian Supreme Court Justice Melinda Richards ruled the article had implied that Defteros crossed a line from professional lawyer to confidant and friend to criminal elements. Yeah. Sproutwired.com also covering the story. The controversy began in 2016 when attorney George Defteros asked Google to remove this article. Google argued in the appeal that it could not be as responsible as the publisher of The Age. Isn't that interesting? So Google saying, don't blame us, blame the content creator. Don't come after us. We are merely a search engine. But as Google builds an 80-acre San Jose campus to the tune of $2.1 billion, their London offices they're building for X number of billions, and their Manhattan offices, you've got to wonder, oh, I don't know, maybe they should be liable for this sort of thing. Maybe they should ensure that people are not defamed on their platform. In appeal, according to the article, Google argues that it cannot be as responsible as the editors do journal The Age, who effectively published an article considered defamatory. According to the company, quote, the research results alone do not imply a defamatory allegation to the author, but at the end of the day, it's a precedent set by the court, and the courts are international. Let's be clear about this. I'm an American. I happen to understand that Google is an American company, and the American courts are going to treat Google differently, but Google is not an American corporation, not really. I know you could look it up and say, Kellen, you're an idiot. But what I'm trying to say is it's a multinational global organization, which is to say that they have to deal with individual governments. So the ruling, and this is Google talking about it's censoring its search results. That's what it's trying to say is, look, don't make us censor the internet. It's too crazy. This from hothardware.com. Quote, the ruling means that Google will be liable as the publisher of any matter published on the web to which its search results provide a hyperlink a reasonable time after it receives notification from a complainant that the matter may be defamatory of them, regardless of the quality of that notice. Now, something that you may need to understand too here is you could have a hacker say, go onto a website, put defamatory information there, and then send a complaint to Google. So that this could be weaponizing this sort of thing. Further, that the matter is located on the webpage of a reputable news source and is of legitimate interest to the substantial proportion of people who use the search engine to locate it, will not afford the operator with a complete defense in order to prevent publication to those users of its search engine who may have merely an idle curiosity. So basically, let's recap. Google has been successfully sued. They are dealing with widespread consequences of this, at least in Australia. Because they're a multinational, all the other countries can now see this as a precedent. There is such a thing as a global precedent for a multinational business, which is to say that no, there may not be an American precedent for this, but we are beginning to look to different countries, and different governments are beginning to look to these social media entities to see what Ireland is doing, what's Australia doing. Australia is not putting up with a lot of this. They've gone after Facebook for Facebook's profiting from their journalists. Different countries have fought different battles with the social media giants. And so here we have a new precedent. How will this roll out over time? I'm curious what you think. YouTube.com/senditrising. Leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. It is the best way that you can tell me that you appreciate the show. Especially when the phone rings at the end. You know I love you. You know I'm proud of you. I really appreciate you swinging on by today. Hit the like button. You know the drill. If you want to listen to us in the car, iTunes and Spotify and all the other podcast platforms, you can check this out as well. If you are listening on iTunes and Spotify, oh, thank you so much. Why don't you swing by youtube.com/senditrising. We're growing, folks. That's it. That's the show. Bye for now.